People of the internet, the Kill Tony fans are having a meltdown over the catastrophic failure that was the Kill Tony Netflix debut. They cannot understand, they cannot wrap their heads around it, they just cannot fathom why people think this episode is so bad, while admitting to them and amongst their group that the show was terrible. It is a conundrum I have yet to make sense of, but today we are going to show you how they are mainlining the old copium to make something feel good over this catastrophic debut that is Kill Tony Episode 1, Kill or Be Killed. So let's just take a look before we go deep into this, into a very generic response that you will find over and over again on the Kill Tony subreddit. People are overreacting, they say. Listen to the Netflix episode without watching it, and it all feels exactly the same as a normal Kill Tony show. People just like to jump on the hate train. You guys are completely overreacting. Anytime a comedian gets rich, you get mad at them and call them a sellout. The reason you found them funny is the same reason they got rich. They are good at their job. Well, you know, I can't agree with this because I was not mad at Dave Chappelle. I was not mad at Bill Burr. And I certainly was not mad at all the other comedians like George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, that all made money. In fact, I have not ever said anything like I have said about Kill Tony fans. And just to move forward, let's just take another review. It has gone 1 point up to 4.9, which is very likely Kill Tony fans trying to turn this number around in response to all the hate this show is getting. And you could see here that it is still at 50 percentile for Rotten Tomatoes. Moving on to my next point, I want you to notice the tomato meter. The critics have still not weighed in on the Kill Tony show. And that is a theme you will find because if you Google Kill or Be Killed review or Kill Tony Netflix review, like mildly successful and obscure media outlets have actually covered it. In fact, nobody has covered it. And I've only found one new article since I last made a video about this. And I will read an excerpt, a brilliant, exquisite, delicious piece of English language for you guys at the end. Now, we can't talk about critics' reviews or people's reviews because we've covered the small handful of people and new audience members or new viewers have covered, and the critics just think this thing is awful and it's not worth their time. So where do we go? Back to the Kill Tony subreddit. Now, it says here, confused on the reviews. For me, this is far from the best of what Kill Tony normally offers, but that's whatever. Notice an admission that this episode was dog balls from the Kill Tony community. Notice this is an admission of what I said. Now, moving forward, what I don't get is the reviews and articles I've seen about this was some pro-MAGA circle jerk. Trump, Elon, Croaky Kennedy, all ripped on along with Biden. I'm far, far removed from American politics, living here down under, so couldn't care less about any of the politics. But still, I'm confused. Did these people even watch it? Now, notice the mainlining of copium right at the end, because they cannot understand why nobody is watching it, why everybody that has watched sections or the whole thing have all come to the same conclusion, even on the Kill Tony subreddit. And it's not my words, it says here, for me, this was far from the best of what Kill Tony normally offers. Now, you look down further and he says, but I'm confused, did these people even watch it? This is copium response number 1. They can't understand. They can't understand why no one likes it, why no one understands. Like, oh, you have to understand Kill Tony, this thing that is made for third graders. You know, us adults, we don't understand Kill Tony. The normal response you'll get is, did you even watch the episode? Obviously you haven't watched Kill Tony before. No, Kill Tony is a bully and he likes to downgrade people because he is inadequate. He is not even really a quarter of what a real man should be. He's probably inadequate in his brain, in his pants, and no woman will ever touch him. And the only one that did ran off and married some Joe Dirt guy and divorced Tony. So Tony is bitter because his bitch upgraded. He's bitter because no bitch considers him an upgrade, and he's bitter because no matter how much money upgrades in his bank account, he can't buy the upgrade that is a woman. So he is angry. He roams around town riding bicycles on foot, being drunk, and thus we come back to the point that we do understand your show, and we understand it is for low-level dirt rats that nobody cares about in society. This is just a typical response. They're confused. Why? No. It's okay. I know comedy is subjective, and 99% of the time I would go, yeah, but I'm going to make fun of it. And you can have your opinion, and it doesn't really matter. But for me, with Kill Tony fans, they started a war. So comedy is not subjective when it comes to Kill Tony fans, because Kill Tony and the Kill Tony show and Tony Hinchcliffe are absolute frauds. They're not comedians, and I'm sorry, a bunch of incels doesn't make it comedy, okay? Look at everyone on that stage, and you know what I'm saying. So we're moving on just to show you. I only pulled up half, not even half, probably like a 10% of the posts about this. We see here, people are overreacting. No, I did that one. Sorry, we'll take that one away. Just watch Netflix. Don't know why everyone is crying about. Oh, that's the typical response. You don't know? Okay, let's go. Let's move on this. Tom, pretty lame. If most of you watched that without reading all the hate prior, you might have seen some different. That's right. It's the hate that caused us to dislike your show. Here's something, right? Here's something that doesn't make sense. Usually hate gives people attention, right? And then people watch it and decide for themselves. It doesn't matter the hate. They may have like a viewpoint, but if they go in and they have this viewpoint that they've heard that it's hated on, and then they go watch the episode and the episode's good, they're gonna like it. That's how rap music got popular. They tried to shut rap music down, but it was too good. And people listened to it overwhelmingly, showing their support, and boom, hip hop, rap music, b-boy scene, all of that now flourishes because people like it, even though people said it was bad, that wanted to control the narrative on the music scene, right? This is copium point number 2. You didn't watch it enough. You didn't understand it. And maybe if you watched all the way till the credits ended and it blacked out and then it said next episode of blah, blah, blah will be playing, and you waited for the countdown and then you clicked back and you rewatched the episode, maybe if you did that, you would understand what the Kill Tony show is, right? That is how these guys are trying to explain it, and thus they are just huffing Kill Tony like an addict in an alleyway with a paint can. Moving on. Kill Tony Netflix. All right, 30 minutes in, and I'm not sure how I feel about this special. For one, Joe Rogan is absolutely obliterated. He's so high from the minute he sat down, he stares around looking, holding his mic with a look of terror on his face. That's entertaining. But the camera cuts and the way that it's filmed take a lot away from the show, I believe. It doesn't feel organic like shows on YouTube. Almost feels awkward. Can't really pinpoint it, just feels off. Also seems like the laughter from the audience is turned down. This is copium fact number 3. The audio. The audio was turned down. You mean the Netflix studio that is one of the best film studios in the world right now? They are making top 10 shows. Most of Netflix is garbage. When Netflix does make a banger, they make bangers, and they've made a lot of bangers. You're telling me they purposely turned the audio down just so the Kill Tony fans would be upset and notice and call out, hey, the audio is so bad? No. It couldn't be that nobody's laughing. It's kind of like if a tree falls in the forest, do you hear it? If a joke bombs on the Kill Tony show, do you hear it? That didn't make sense, but you get the point. Y'all are crazy. This episode is great. There it is. Another well mainlined copium point for the Kill Tony fans. Y'all are just crazy. The episode is so good. You're just crazy. You're just crazy. You know how all of these points all come back to you don't understand it. You're crazy. You didn't watch enough. You've never watched the show, so you don't know what it's about. Obviously, you don't know what Kill Tony is about. Do you notice all of their points come back to a lack of understanding you have the Kill Tony show? I'm going to tell you something about marketing, about understanding people. You know, people make a decision on a website in 3 seconds. Whether they like it, they're entertained by it, it's good. Make a reaction to video with the same matter of quickness. If everybody's clicking off and the Kill Tony fans don't like it and just have to explain away why their show is shit. We don't have to have an understanding. If something is good, it will grasp our attention and capture us right away. And granted, there are some things that are a slow burn. There's some things you have to slog through and then they get better over time. But nobody's saying that. They're all saying it. Even the Kill Tony fans. It's bad. It's bad. Right now, I want y'all, all of y'all out there that have been watching Kill Tony and you've been living amongst the sinners and evil, come on down to the altar. Come on down to the altar. We're going to get you saved. We're going to get that devil out of you. We're going to get you saved. Sorry. Netflix episode felt so awkward. Netflix puking emoji. Sad reality. The show is not the same. I saw multiple cuts, including during some bucket pulls and interview. This has to be a thing. All the labels to everything, including William's shirt, had to be hidden. I'm sorry, but I thought the freedom to joke about what the guests wanted was the entire point of the show. Hopefully, this is not forever. Forever. Hopefully, Kill Tony will make a comeback, bitches. Well, it's not. Because Kill Tony fails at everything, or Tony Hinchcliffe fails at every big moment. Everyone, including Madison Square Garden. It was an epic failure for the Kill Tony show, and it will never happen again. Never. Too many gimmicks. Netflix. Shane carried the fuck out of this episode. Shane and Tony were literally carrying this episode. Do you see how this train is on fire, and it's about to break off a cliff and crash into the ocean? You know what they say, if it ain't broke, break it. Netflix. Halfway in, and it sucks. Kill Tony. I just would love to hear Tony Netflix. We're the #1 live comedy podcast that isn't live anymore, that films on Mondays on YouTube, that gets exactly 2 million views per episode, that has 1,000 comments. Can I insert anything more to extract anybody that would even qualify for this mention of the #1 live podcast, extracting all the things that I said, and thus, finally, we get to us being #1 at something. Did you hear all the excuses when I proved that it wasn't even live comedy? It was #1 at nothing. I covered every angle that it could possibly be #1. And people were like, it's still the #1 live comedy podcast filmed in Austin on 6th Street at 7 p.m. on Monday. Yeah, you're wrong. I feel like Kill Tony fans are bringing out the biggest troll in me. I'm sorry if I seem off. I'm sorry. But these guys, you just can't help but troll them and I can't help but make more videos about this, because these guys, no matter how bad it is, they're just trying to fight themselves out of a box, and they can't put, let me box. Let me have the box. I'm trapped in the box, man. I'm trapped in the box. Oh, fuck. I'm a terrible person. I don't believe in hell, so fuck it. What do we got to lose, broski? Moving on. Guest tonight equal bomb. Bombs over Baghdad. All right, moving on. Kill Tony doesn't work on a big stage. Tough crowd on the Netflix taping. At least they're admitting it's a tough crowd. That's better than going, oh, Netflix just got the audio wrong. The #1 viewing movie TV show platform in the world just got it wrong. Kill Tony. Those fucking dweebs in Austin, they get it right every time. No. You're living in an echo chamber. Comedy Mothership only lets in guys that are willing to suck dick for the people that are on stage. They have to go. Let me tell you, I don't go to the Comedy Mothership, because what they don't tell you is they have that entrance where they scan your ID and everything, but then they usher you into that room. There's a long hallway before you get into the, what would you call them? The comedy space, the event space. There's a long hallway, and Joe Rogan and all his friends have glory holes, and they just sit there, and all the guys have to and that's how you get into the Kill Tony show. And look, Those special forces guys, they're there for a reason because they're trained killing machines. So what happens is it's kind of like God, I can't even think of the show. That show. What is the show name? This is going to drive me crazy. The show name, the game show on Netflix where people die. Squid Game. So those special forces people it's like Squid Game. And see what happens is they're up circled all above the stage and the audience. And if people don't laugh at Kill Tony, click, they just get capped. And you would think, like, you would hear the audience go, oh, nah, the audience too scared. When their friend gets died there, it's like watching a North Korean parade. And that's how the Kill Tony shows run. If you didn't know, it's rather scary. Last one, audience volume too quiet on Netflix. Bro, let me tell you. The copium is massive here. Massive. The copium is massive. These people do not understand that just like Tony Hinchcliffe specials, just like Tony Hinchcliffe roasts, just like the Tony Hinchcliffe Trump rally, and just like the Tony Hinchcliffe Madison Square Garden appearances, he failed. He fails because he is a fraud comedian. And you Kill Tony fans, you're failed people too. And that's why you like him, because failures love to gather and circle jerk. Now, this is one of the only recent articles. Like this article, there's not hardly any critics reviews on this show. I wonder why. Who knows? But I want to read their takeaway before we go. I just want to read their takeaway. It might be a little long. We might cut it off, but it says our take. Because it's quite a foolish endeavor, aside from Dunnigan's character work, nobody else seems to have brought any prepared, polished material. If you only had one or a few minutes of stage time as an open mic comic to try and impress Gillis and Segura, or if you're a more established comedian getting your first chance to reach Netflix audience, would you really waste the opportunity on half-baked premises and lackluster punchlines? Right? Ari Matty, perfect case. And that's why he had to explain to Joe Rogan why he didn't even understand his bit, because even he knows that he's not funny. And they blew their opportunities. Hinchcliffe claimed more than 300 aspiring stand-ups stood in line to place their names in the bucket for a shot at instant fame. No way. They had these guys picked out. They were ready. You think they were gonna leave that to chance? The bucket pulls are always rigged. People have known that. This show is not organic anymore. It's not organic in any way. It is planned out to a T, and thus why it sucks. Some of these selected revealed they had come from far away wide for this opportunity. One guy came in from Los Angeles, another from Providence, cracked that he'd have to quit his day job in Rhode Island once this aired. Another from Chicago said he was in the area working as a cameraman for a reality TV series. Yet another said he had rode his BMX bicycle all the way from San Diego just for this. And then there was the spectacle Hinchcliffe made out of the fact that he just had to dig into the bucket to find the name of a female comedian, only to have him and himself and Red Band make an even bigger point of objectifying her, while it's also rewarding her with a book spot in Kill Tony's upcoming return to Madison Square Garden this August. Yeah, this is crazy. And this is what I've always said. Tony Hinchcliffe does not like women. He doesn't know how to treat women. And whenever a woman gets up on stage, he just belittles her, tries to say the worst things about her. But this is what's going to happen, right? He's going to invite her to audience, and him and Red Band are going to try and make moves on her. And then they're going to get rejected, because who wants to be with those people? And then they're just going to destroy her in Madison Square Garden. No matter how much Hinchcliffe hyped up his great regulars, none of them delivered anything that landed past Hinchcliffe and his few panelists. That's right. They were the only ones laughing. That is why the audience volume was so low, because they turned it up just for the panelists. They wanted to hear their laughs more than the audience. I think you found your copium, Kill Tony fans. Even Adam Ray's jokes in character, much of them he read off a sheet of paper, amounted to a little more than roast jokes at the expense of Kill Tony's Austin regulars, which meant next to nothing to anyone tuning into the show for the first time, especially since Ray also roasted Austin comedians who hadn't even yet appeared on stage. Perhaps Ray's most efficient zinger: if we get rid of autism, you won't have any Kill Tony regulars. Yes, or fans. The fans have mental cognitive function deficiencies. They have brain damage. They have mental diseases. Gillis also injected at one point that Netflix would have to edit a bunch of this episode, and yet it's still 2 hours and several minutes of one massively long inside joke. After the final comic, show regular and Hall of Fame in Kill Tony universe, William Montgomery is greeted by standing O from the crowd. He proceeds to bomb on stage and then joke about his performance afterward. I was thinking this was a good opportunity for me, and I really dropped the ball in all these fucking jokes, Montgomery said. Hinchcliffe stops him to remark that anyone not laughing just didn't get it. Do you see how all the copium points come to you not having an understanding? Ultimately, this is much of like any of the hundreds or thousands of unheralded open mic nights happening across America in any given week. People want to be performers, but have yet to learn how to perform, dropping lots of casual racism, misogyny, and homophobia, transphobia, chasing what they believe to be the easiest attainable laughs. When you create an atmosphere that's a mix of the Gong Show and the Morning Zoo radio, it only feeds into this hacky myth. Like, see, this is the point where people get really political. You mention racism, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia. So whenever you say those things, they automatically characterize you as a liberal, but it's not that. It's just like, we don't want to talk about it. Maybe we have feelings about those things we don't like, or maybe it's just like a normal thing that being racist and mean towards women is something that people don't like. They just think and it's not the truth. Yo, chill out. Have some more thought behind these politics. I'm saying the same shit, man. I'm saying the same stuff. These guys are just the bottom of the barrel people. I just do not understand it. They are bottom of the fucking barrel, man. Even Hinchcliffe slips into unnecessarily racist accents and zingers, at one point stopping to try to cover it by zinging himself, saying, "I'm getting word the show has been canceled." But that's not stopping him. Earlier in the episode, Hinchcliffe alerted everyone who might be questioning their decision to watch Kill Tony by offering, "If you're ever offended by anything, you'll be offended by this show. And you're 2 clicks away from John Mulaney. So just go over there now and then you'll be fine. He's not going to offend you. This will. This is for people who don't get offended." Look, do you notice how all the things I pointed out are all the things everyone that's reviewed it, the Kill Tony fans, it's obvious from here, you know, that this thing is garbage. And at the end of the day, they're called skip it. I'm not sure what appeal this has to anyone who's not already a devoted fan, mentally ill person of the show, other than watching the comedy equivalent of a slow motion car crash. It's not even about being offended. It's about wanting to watch a comedy show where professional comedians deliver actual comedy. This is literally an amateur hour times 2, which, considering Kill Tony had 700 Mondays to prepare for this Netflix moment, you might have thought would be ready to shine in this spotlight, and yet skip it. The bit. I was right, folks. Good night.